Peace, peace. How's everybody doing? Peace. How's everybody doing? I'm going to keep that overlay on the thing. Peace. Shalom. It's all good. How you doing, my friend? We want to do a little mix, if we will. And what do I mean when I say mix? You see the words on the bottom, see your fool and depart. And the meme that is there that says essentially, family, attention, right? And what that says in that particular case. We want to and we hope that everybody is well and will be better. Now, what do we want to get into, if we will, in this particular case? Now, what do we want to get into? Want to make sure that the sound was right on the matter. Thank you for that. Pardon me. In that particular case, is this, right? In that particular case, is this. Proverbs in the scriptures speaks about speak not in the ears of the fool, for he will despise your words. Proverbs says, answer not a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes. So, how does that connect and within what we're talking about in this particular case, family? We have to know and understand intelligence and wisdom. No, we're not the most high. But the scriptures teaches us that the most high in wisdom and understanding made the heavens and the earth. I'm going to take this off for the moment, if we will. Thank you all for joining on in this particular case, right? And what we can ascertain quickly is not taking heed to foolishness, like we want to show right here. It says, you're a dummy to support a boycott of Amazon while you sell items on Amazon. Now, those who do know, a brother has books on Amazon that you will see shown in the background under the author name Yeshaya Yisrael, and the larger books under the name Vincent Hutchinson. To give my father honor, may he rest in peace. Now, brothers and sisters, looking at it in this particular case, right? There has been talk about boycotting Amazon. That's your choice. But you can't do it in intelligence. You can't do it in wisdom if you're selling items on Amazon. That's just not intelligent. If you are not trying to say how you need to or should be, but gun ho about a boycott, then if your items are on there, intelligence will tell you to be in beast mode, to be in compliance with intelligence, that you would unpublish if it's books or any other way in which you got to take your items off. So that way, nobody else would, in supporting you, will indirectly be also supporting Amazon. So you have people, brothers and sisters, who would sit there and want to, and this is something I've been dealing with people online and offline, more so online, over a little of a week, if you may say. If you have items, again, on any matter, like Amazon, for instance, and then saying you need to sit there and wait to support your brother or sister because you're boycotting it while your stuff is still on there, that's not intelligent. It seems as if it's like a phony kind of move. It seems like it's an emotional kind of move. It seems as if it's a rebel without a cause, if you will. What is the point in such? Because I want to state this: Amazon is a multi-billion with a B company. So our people, or people in general, talking about boycotting it is not going to hurt it. You understand? we have to begin to move intelligently. And this is no disrespect on any movement of us as a people. But in certain cases, like in quote the Black Lives Matter thing, standing in front of cars and getting hit, that's not intelligence to get your point across. Malcolm X, may he rest in peace, was noted by a person who was doing a matter of protesting, and it was that particular young lady's time to lay down in front of the bus. And Malcolm was telling her that the bus driver, if he runs over you, of course they're going to say it's an accident, but you still sit there and be squashed. We want to sit there and make a point in intelligence. You understand, looking at it like that. I cannot have a Cash App and then sit there and tell people, well, I'm going to sit there while still using the Cash App. Well, I'm going to sit there and boycott Cash App. We're boycotting. No, you're not boycotting Cash App. You are playing games. And when you're dealing with people who are serious, just using, say, as an author, buying your book, promoting your website, promoting your brand, and doing business in exchange like that. Family, like I did before in a presentation with the Trump supporter who sat there and acted like she had bought a book when you did not sit there and buy it. If I had to depend upon that kind of matter to eat, a brother will starve. So then we have to sit back and think and see, how do we move about things intelligently? How do we go about things intelligently? You do not sit there and say $ MOREH 23 is how you sit there and donate to Moreh Yeshaya and do the Cash App and so forth and so on. And then turn right around while not knocking down my particular or blocking or closing my Cash App account. I'm going to tell you we should sit there and boycott it, and but yet I still got it open for others, whoever else that may be. You're playing yourself. You're not genuine about the cause of what you're talking about. Those who are genuine in the cause, those who are genuine in their cause, they will sit there and do any form in order to sit there and make the point be heard. But then we sit there and we hear things talking about this kind of subject. Oh, it's not about money. It's not about recognition. Then what is the boycott for? You are holding your monies and not giving recognition economically to an organization, while saying at the same token, you wouldn't care if people buy your book, just using that as an example, online through Amazon, because it's not about the money. If it's not about the money, then why are you holding your money from supporting? That's not intelligent. We have to sit there and, again, knowing that we come from our maker who created the heavens and the earth and does things in intelligence, doesn't do things that you have to sit there and turn around per se and then regret later on. We have to know how to move wisely in a matter. So when you are, pardon me, when you are speaking upon said matter, just using that as an example, and it goes left, south, whatever you may want to sit there and call it, we have to know this, and we want to cite the scriptures in this particular case. Let us read, if you will, in the book of Proverbs, chapter 9, brothers and sisters. This has been read before, but we're going to read other parts of the Tanakh or the scriptures along with it. Proverbs chapter 9, verse 6. Forsake the foolish and live, and go in the way of understanding. He that reproveth a scorner getteth to himself shame, and he that rebuketh a wicked man getteth himself a blot. Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee. Brothers and sisters, rebuke a wise man, rebuke one that is of already in wisdom, having wisdom, and he will be like, you know what, I'll hear you on that. Point is valid. I'm going to sit there and take that constructive criticism. The opposite would say, you don't even got to sit there and support my stuff. It ain't about that. So what is the point in you putting your stuff up there in the first place? You're a clown, brothers and sisters. You're playing your own self and insulting your own intelligence. To try to sit there and follow to quote unquote make a point, which you're actually not making a point. Because if you have a boycott, just using this as an example, from March, whenever, to the end of the month, They're going to sit there and know at that month, after that month, tax time or whatever, the funds coming in, you're going to sit there and go right back into doing it. That's not intelligent. There are brothers and sisters who work for Amazon. There are brothers and sisters who work for Target. There are brothers and sisters who work for Walmart. So until we as the people get our own stores, get our own brand, and I say this in no disrespect intended, if we sit there, let me take this down, if we will. You got your man Lincoln here, and you got your man Washington here. Until you have currency that has your images upon it, and we're dealing with these jobs. Now let's speak as an Israelite. And this is not to try to sit there and say we playing games. Most of the garments that we wear, if it's a union job or not, is a mixed garment. So that means it's against the laws that we already follow. There are jobs that ask you to sit there and cut your beard when we know a beard is a sign of puberty growing into a man. Why would they want you to sit there and cut that? Because they don't want you to be, quote, fearful looking in the eyes of people. So when you're sitting there paying mortgage or rent, when you're sitting there dealing with Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, Venmo, and then you in particular or in general, you happen to have things that you are selling online, and you rather sit there and do a boycott to sit there and try to, quote, make a point. That's foolishness, because those companies are not going to sit there and be affected by, say, such. This again, I'm in New York, though I live in New Jersey. But I went to the Target in New York, and this is like, not to expose my business, like the receipt from such. You know why? Because I got to buy things for my child. See, your boycott didn't sit back and think about my little princess. Your boycott didn't sit there and take into consideration the people that in their early 20s that you might see in different cities dragging a big bucket looking thing to sit there and deliver products that somebody can need. People who look like your child, maybe. And as the brother pointed out, they also tell you not to wear cultural clothing to work. So we have to move like Joseph was in Egypt, man. Intelligently. You know not to sleep with the next man's wife. You know not to do divination. You know not to sit there and worship idols. But just like when you go, say, in a job matter, and then we go online, say, I'm thankful I got employment. I'm thankful I'm able to handle these bills. I'm thankful that I have the strength to sit there and handle this. And then once it comes time, when somebody who could care less about you, your brother, your sister, your book, your dress, my sister, or your head wrap, my brother, we want to sit there and state that we want to do a boycott because somebody else sat there and said it. That is foolishness. You understand? Until we sit there and get a Black Wall Street, like the Tulsa, Oklahoma one, that was destroyed in 1921 after it was built in 1905 to 1908. And then it was rebuilt in the 1940s, for those who do know. Until you get something like Rosewood and having your own community, you're going to keep on complaining about the price of eggs, family. Real talk. So what do we do in intelligence while being in another man's society? While not being, as it says in the time of Solomon in the book of Kings, or Israel was under their own vine and fig tree. When we have to go to Food Lion, Walmart, Key Food, Associated, depends upon what state you are living in, to sit there and get food. What do we do in that particular case using their currency? You keep on boycotting, dodo, dummy. You're not realizing you're hurting your brother and sister that actually works for it. I'm going to sit there and try to make a point, right? Let me sit there and block this off for the moment. Mike Tyson said something that registered to me. And that is being a boxer. We're talking about Mike Tyson and the statement he made. If he's a boxer and he asks another boxer to fight for a fighting match, and that person says no, you're disrespecting the person who's asking you that. Because this is how you get your paper, your bread, your revenue. You telling me no is stopping my flow of money. And we conscious in certain cases, quote unquote, certainly in the house of Israel, we have been programmed with the concept of, quote, poor righteous teachers, that it is okay to sit there and be broke. Do you not realize when we go over Deuteronomy 28, it distinctly says, you shall be the tail and not the head. You shall borrow and not lend. The stranger that is within you shall mount above you higher and higher. How then, reading that in Deuteronomy 28, the stranger mounting above you higher and higher, you're the tail and not the head. You shall borrow and not lend. When do we, living under them circumstances, can afford a respectful boycott? We're not in a position for such. If you are about your people and boycotting a matter, and you see that company helps your people by hiring your people, as in Amazon and Target and other places. I just went to Target just last week, showed you the receipt, and there were sisters that was up there at the cash register. Us saying not go there is going to hurt those sisters eventually. But you don't care about that because you a dummy who sits there and says you don't care about your own stuff that's online to be sold. Cutting off your nose to spite your face and throwing out the baby with the bathwater is one of the dumbest things that people can sit there and do. So I've been asking people, why would you keep your stuff on a platform that you're saying we should not endorse? I ain't get a wise answer yet. So it became a matter of doing this. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 7, as we close out. And it says, go from the presence of a foolish man, when thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge. Go from the presence of a foolish man, when thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge. If you have no understanding and you're willing to sit there and, as it says, the wise woman builds her house and the foolish plucketh it down with her own hands, and you got items that you want to sit there and promote through a platform, through one's own channel or so forth, and you saying, don't worry about it, what image are you going to sit there and present? It reminds me of the fool who returned back a donation that a brother gave. I go and get a haircut ever so often. I go, brothers and sisters, and go to a store ever so often. There is a thing in the barbershop and in other things that has a tip jar, TIP. They expect you to put a tip inside of the thing. I went outside around the timing of my B-day and was with family. It was expected when we had dinner to give a tip. There's a part on the receipt that says tip. Brothers and sisters, once it come down to business, I promised that I wasn't going to use profanity on the platform, but we want some defecation on our own selves. We got to sit there and use our intelligence, because the way we going and the way the economy is talking about, black people in less than 50 years contributing less than 5% to the economy is going to be in a real bad shape. And we've been saying Deuteronomy 28 for how many decades? We should support each other. So find, if you're going to go through another channel about the black woman, the black man that actually has items on Amazon, has items in Target, has items in Walmart, if you want to go sit there that route, unless you just want to go straight, understandable, quote, black business, which is definitely promoted. But don't sit there and have your stuff on the platform and tell other black people to not sit there and support it while your stuff is still on there. Don't urinate on me and tell me it's raining. You're playing yourself. Take care.